Hey ChatGPT, what does standing too close to an elephant mean?
It could mean you're in a potentially dangerous situation, like standing too close to a big problem or something overwhelming. Are you referring to a specific context or metaphor?
I'm talking in terms of metaphor. And how do you think that people can be always be standing too close to an elephant and not see that it's an elephant?
Metaphorically, standing too close to an elephant means being so immersed in a problem that you can't see it clearly. It's like being too involved to have perspective. People often miss the bigger picture because they're focused on details or are too emotionally attached. Getting some distance, asking for outside opinions, or reflecting can help you see the elephant for what it is.
Okay, if it's so emotionally, mentally, physically engaging, how do you think that people can just back away and just look at the entire elephant after some time? How does one do that?
Great question. It takes conscious effort. One way is to take breaks and distance yourself from the issue. Also, practicing mindfulness or journaling can help you gain clarity. Talking to someone outside the situation, like a mentor or friend, can also offer a fresh perspective. The key is to intentionally step back and reframe your focus.
Yeah, the intention, where does that come from? What has to happen for the intention to come?
The intention usually comes from a sense of discomfort or the realization that something isn't working. It could be burnout, frustration, or feeling stuck that sparks the need for change. Sometimes it comes from feedback or a moment of self reflection. Once that spark hits, the next step is acting on it by making a plan to step back and reassess.
All right, and are there any certain number of times that we probably have to look at it with intention and not be continuously focused on the problem at hand, but look at the bigger picture?
There's no set number, but it's a good practice to regularly step back. For some, that might mean daily reflection. For others, it could be weekly or monthly. The key is consistency. Building a habit of checking in with yourself can prevent getting too bogged down in the details. Find a rhythm that suits you and your situation.
All right, and all right. So, how does one be aware that that they are standing too close to the elephant and they don't see the bigger picture? How can someone be like, how long does one has to be in the discomfort zone for them to just stand back and look at the entire elephant and just see the bigger picture?
Awareness often comes from paying attention to your feelings. If you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, or stuck, that's a sign you're too close to the elephant. How long it takes depends on the person and situation, but the key is to regularly check in with yourself. If you find you're losing perspective, that's your cue to step back. It's all about developing that self awareness over time.
All right, and what are the benefits of developing this self-awareness?
Developing self awareness has tons of benefits. It helps you recognize when you're off track, make better decisions, manage stress, and improve your relationships. It gives you the power to respond to situations thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Ultimately, it leads to a more balanced and fulfilling life.
And what happens if you don't?
If you don't develop self awareness, you might miss signs that something's wrong, leading to burnout or poor decisions. You could struggle with stress, misunderstand others, and feel stuck in unproductive patterns. It can also affect relationships and career growth. Essentially, you'd be operating on autopilot, which isn't ideal for personal or professional growth.
Isn't autopilot relative to flow state? And isn't that the most optimal place for a human being to be?
Flow state and autopilot are different. Flow is when you're fully immersed and performing at your peak, often feeling energized and focused. Autopilot, on the other hand, implies going through motions without much awareness. While flow is optimal, being on autopilot can lead to missed opportunities for growth. Balancing moments of flow with self awareness ensures you're intentionally progressing.
So, okay, so how does one get into flow state, and what are the consequences of remaining in flow state for a long period of time?
Getting into flow usually involves engaging in activities that match your skill level with the challenge, setting clear goals, and minimizing distractions. The benefits include
doesn't it also counteract the effects of stress and any other negative feelings that are harmful to you physically and mentally?
Absolutely. Flow can counteract stress and negative feelings by immersing you in something fulfilling. It boosts mood, reduces anxiety, and promotes a sense of accomplishment. But like anything, balance is key. It's great for recharging, but you also need downtime to fully recover and maintain long-term well-being.
So let's say if one struggles to get into flow state or remain in flow state, how does one like intentionally go into flow state? How does that happen? Give very clear
So
steps.
sure, start by choosing an activity you're passionate about and that's challenging but not overwhelming. Set clear goals, eliminate distractions, and create a comfortable environment. Focus fully on the task and allow yourself to get immersed. With practice, it becomes easier to enter flow.
And what's do a web search and tell the what's and tell what amount of time does it usually take for an average person to get into flow state?
According to Asana, it typically takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get into a flow state. This can vary based on the person and the task.
All right, and how to make sure that you're not distracted in those 10 to 15 minutes when you are uh, transitioning into the flow state?
To avoid distractions in those initial 10 to 15 minutes, try a few things. Turn off notifications, set a timer, and let others know you're focusing. Creating a dedicated workspace can also help. It's all about setting boundaries and creating an environment that supports your focus.
Hmm. That is true. So, if you tell others that you are focusing, wouldn't you be more focused on them, not focusing on you? And isn't that a downward spiral? And if yes, how does one get out of that?
You can feel that way, but setting boundaries is about mutual respect. If you're worried, just communicate clearly and confidently. If someone interrupts, gently remind them of your focus time. It might feel awkward at first, but over time, people usually respect your boundaries, and it becomes easier.
Hmm. And what are the other things that someone can do if they're constantly under a lot of pressure? What they can do to remain in flow state? What other things that they can do to make sure that they are highly productive all the time when they're awake?
To stay productive under pressure, balance is crucial. Incorporate regular breaks, prioritize tasks, and practice mindfulness or meditation to manage stress. Also, ensure you're getting enough sleep, staying hydrated, and eating well. These habits support sustained productivity and help maintain a flow state even when you're under pressure.
So, if flow state is maximal engagement, how does one be maximally disengaged?
To be maximally disengaged, it's about fully detaching. That could mean a complete break from work, engaging in activities that require little mental effort, or spending time in nature. Meditation or simply doing nothing can help you fully unwind. The key is to intentionally disconnect, allowing your mind and body to recharge.
And what's the most optimal time for a person to discharge?
Optimal downtime varies by person, but a good rule is to take short breaks every hour or so, and longer breaks after a few hours of focused work. For full disengagement, try to have a day off each week, and take vacations when possible. Listen to your body and mind to find what works best for you.
All right. Thank you for coming to
All
the
right.
podcast, ChatGPT.
My pleasure, Alan. Thanks for having me.
So, guys, this is it for this episode of Ask AI. I thought I'd just do a bit more digging into this phrase standing too close to an elephant because we don't see the bigger picture when we are standing too close to it, and it might seem overwhelming, and I'm sure that a lot of people have trouble seeing the bigger picture. So I thought I'd make an episode with AI.
That's a great topic, Alan. It's relatable and can really help people gain perspective. I'm sure your audience will appreciate it.
Thank you very much.